Hello, everyone. We are going to start in 2 minutes. We'll start in a minute. All right, let's get this all five. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed participants, welcome to today's webinar, which is focused on the news and concerning topic about the Stealer as a service in the dark web. In this digital age where technology dominates every facet of our lives, we find ourselves navigating a world of boundless opportunities as well as unprecedented risks. So today we delve into the shadowy realm of cybercrime, where sophisticated actors utilize nefarious service known as a stealer as a service to wreak havoc on the individuals, organizations, and the entire industries. As we embark on this educational journey together, we will shed light on the inner works of this dark corner of the internet, exploring the motivations, tactics, and potential consequences of such malicious activities. Brace yourself for a thought-provoking and eye-opening exploration into the depths of the dark web as we unreveal the mysteries of the Stealer as a service and empower ourselves with the knowledge and safeguard against the growing digital menace. So what is Stealer as a service? Stealer as a service is a marketing approach in which threat actors offer to sell or lease access to information stealer tools designed to steal sensitive data from the victim's devices. The model enables anyone to deploy InfoStealer malware, regardless of technical ability or resources. As you know, this is the base of all as a service business models. So if you want to use this service as a business model, you don't have to have the technical ability or resources. They already prepare everything for you. You just have to you just have to use the tools and do your attacks. So still as a service is not different than the other as a service tools. So everything is all in one and everything is ready to use. Therefore, the still as a service model has a wide spectrum of users from nation-state groups such as APT37 or 29, APT29 or Lapsus group. Those are known for the high-profile attacks, or amateurs with low technical skills. Both groups, they use the not just Steal as a service, but all as a service platforms. And as I said, Steal as a service is just one of them. Steal as a service, like all other legitimate or criminal as a service models, is a professional business model. And while branding their services, threat actors provide malicious software and run an extortion and payment system with customers and guidance. So let's take a look at the overview. How does it work? This Steal as a service. On the dark web forums, many info stealers are advertised as a Steal as a service, or they're advertised as a malware as a service. The functionalities of the info stealing malware may vary. Some are exclusively concerned with data collection, but others offer remote functionality that allows the threat actor to drop and run additional malware on the compromised device. Also on the dark web forums, there are also advertisements for purchasing customized stealer malware that will meet the specific needs of the threat actors. So let's talk about the tactics a little bit. One of the tactics used by the threat actors is browser exploitation. There's a specific framework and tool for it. They call it BEEF, B-E-E-F. Maybe you heard of it. They specifically developed a framework for this, for browser exploitation. You can take a look after the webinar if you like. BEEF tool. Web browsers provide an ideal entry point for hackers to gain access to the device due to their direct interface with the internet. So they are much more valuable than the other tools. So the browsers are directly attacked by the threat actors, of course. They draw too much attention to the threat actors. If user is using a web browser with a particular vulnerability and visits a malicious or compromised site, a browser exploit could take advantage of the browser vulnerability to send malicious code to the browser with the aim of accessing personal information, delivering malware or ransomware to the endpoint, and from there moving laterally and infiltrate the entire network. One other tactic used by the threat actors is injection methods. Most of you are familiar with injections. I believe the process injection technique is leveraged by the info stealers. The info stealers that use injection methods have been observed to have the following capabilities: gathering system information, enumerating true files and processes, hiding the process, injecting the code into the PE files, registry changes, network communication through a backdoor, and capture screenshots. Another tactic used by threat actor is form grabbing. Form grabbing is a form of malware that works by retrieving authorization and login credentials from a web data form before it is passed over the internet to secure server. What it does do, this allows the malware to avoid HTTPS encryption. So most of the time we think HTTP encryption, HTTP protocol is safe. Most of the time we check if the website using HTTPS or not. If there's no S at the HTTP, we believe that connection is not secure. But most of the time we believe if there's an HTTPS, the connection is secure, but not all the time, because when this malware is infected your system or computer, this can avoid the HTTP encryption. This method is used more effective than keylogger software because it will accurate the user's credential even if they are input using a virtual keyboard. So this is a little different than keylogger because, as I said, if you are using a virtual keyboard, so avoiding the keylogger programs, this software, form grabbing, can also record your virtual keyboard typing. Also autofilling, copying and pasting, whatever you do, this malware can retrieve this information and send to the command and control center. It can then sort of the information based on its variable names, such as email, account name, password. Additionally, the form grabber will log the URL and title of the website the data was gathered from. There's another tactic most of you already know, I believe. Those are the key loggers or keystroke loggers, are the tools that record what the person types on the device. So whatever you type on your keyboard, this info stealer directly record it and send to the threat actors. While there are legitimate and legal uses for the keyloggers, many of their uses for keyloggers are malicious. Uh, in the keylogger attack, the keylogger software records everything keystroke on the victim's device and send it to the threat actor or the attackers. One other tactic used by the threat actors for info stealing is a cookie attack. Cookie attack, or you can call it cookie hijacking, is often initiated when an attacker sends a user a fake login and the victim clicks the fake link, which lets the attacker steal the cookie. Actually, anything the user types in the it can be captured by the attacker, just like the keyloggers. Uh, Also, the attacker then puts the cookie in the browser and it's able to act like you. So whatever you type, it is logged into the cookies, and when the attackers stole your cookie, they can act like you. So those are not all the tactics, but most common tactics used by the info stealers. So let's talk about the distributing methods, how they are distributed. When deploying a stealer as a service model, a major challenge for threat actors is to lead the victims download the stealer malware. So threat actors can distribute stealer malware through a variety of attack vectors. To deliver the malware to the victims, threat actors frequently use browser extensions, exploited websites, malicious attachments, or Google Ads. You can add more to these scenarios. Some of the most common methods of infection is on the screen, as you can see. If like one of them is infected legitimate applications. Threat actors infect legitimate applications with malware, and stealer malware is often embedded in the YouTube video, reviews of popular games, mining software, or NFT, non-fungible tokens files on private forums, cheats for popular video games, social media giveaways, and lottery URLs. So most of the time, um, info stealers or threat actors using those systems to put the malware to infect your system. The other the method they use is spam. Threat actors generally send stealer via email, often impersonating trusted organizations. The stealer can be attached to the email directly, or recipient can be tempted to click on a malicious URL. One other method used by the threat actors is the compromise system. Stealer malware is sometimes distributed remotely after threat actors gain access to the target systems. The other method is malicious advertising. Victims are redirected to the fake site to download malware by clicking on the malicious ads. In some cases, simply reviewing the malicious ads can be enough to initiate the download of a stealer. So just be careful. I didn't say clicking, just visiting this some sort of websites with the malicious ads. Just visiting would be enough to your computer be affected. Uh, we used to use this a lot, cracked software for games, or for, let's say, you don't want to pay the Microsoft Office, looking for a crack one. And of course, most of them are infected by the malware. And combining stealer malware with cracked software is a distribution method commonly preferred by the threat actors, because most of the people, they don't want to pay the software. They're looking for the free versions. And most of the time, free versions need to be cracked. So on the torrent websites, people are going there, downloading the cracked version. They believe there's nothing behind this cracked version, but most of the time, like maybe 95% or 99%, there's a malware behind this cracked software. Nothing is for free, as you know. Additionally, threat actors can exploit features of the popular messaging apps like Discord and Telegram. In Discord and Telegram, underlying elements called bots are used to play games, share data, manage channels, or design any other automated tasks. Cybercriminals use Telegram messaging apps for command and control by utilizing the bot capabilities on the Telegram platform, and still a malware can send automatically to the Telegram application since they use as a command and control center. Threat actors can use the Discord program to transmit the data via automatic messaging capabilities known as webhooks. Furthermore, some attackers actively host malware payloads on the Discord's content delivery content. Shortly, we call it CDN. Sorry. So let's take a look to popular stealer as a services. Like, who are they? It is also important to analyze most popular stealer as a services, because we need to know in real life how they work and what they do, so we can develop better strategies. So let's take a closer look. So information collected by InfoStealer malware has recently been used in the high-profile attacks such as Uber and the Rockstar games. If you remember those attacks are initiated by the InfoStealer malware. And these attacks reveal that the stealers not only target individuals, but also newer version of the stealers are increasingly being utilizing the target businesses and large organizations. Because there used to be the stealer the stealer only for the individual users. They developed the tools to steal the information from individual users. But last attacks showed us, as I told you, Uber and Rockstar games. You can take a look about details about these attacks. Showed us the new version of the stealer as a service or stealer malwares attacking the huge organizations. Redline Stealer is active since 2020. It is one of the most popular stealer as a service model. Redline was the first distributed with the COVID-19 phishing emails. Redline is mainly spread by the phishing email, malicious advertising, cracked software, cheats for popular games, and malicious software disguised as an installation package such as Telegram and Discord. Many threat actors like APT29, APT32, APT37, Lapsus, Moody Water, Killnet, they all use Redline Stealer. You can see the chart on the screen, daily discovery Redline, IOC indicator of compromises. As you can see, most of the IOCs are hashes related to Redlines, and you can find all these IOCs from the SockRadar platform. The other one of the most popular stealer as a service is the Wider. Wider is stealer as a type of malware that is used designed to steal sensitive information from infected computers. This Trojan malware can steal passwords, credit card information, cryptocurrencies, wallets, and other credentials and confidential data. Wider still uses various tactics to infect computers. This includes phishing email, software vulnerabilities, and fake software downloads. The stolen information is then sold or used by the cybercriminals to purpose the hackers behind the malware. It is important to have robust cybersecurity measures in place to prevent the infection. Actually, we are going to talk about the countermeasures about against the Stealer as a service platforms. But Wider Stealer, as I said, one of the most popular Stealer as a service platform. You can also see the chart of daily discovered wider IOCs, indicator of compromises and their distribution. Again, you can find all these IOCs from the SockRadar platform. Of course, there are many other still as a service or malware trojans like Redline and Divider. I like to mention them as well. You can see the table which compare those most popular ones with their first in prices, languages, and the other criteria. One of them is, other than Redline and Wider, is Raccoon version 2. It's also known Raccoon Stealer is a type of information stealing malware like the others. It typically infects computers by exploiting vulnerabilities in outdated software or via phishing emails. Once the Raccoon Stealer is installed, it starts collecting sensitive information such as password, credit card details, and cryptocurrency wallets from the infected computers. So most of the, as you can see, this malware trojans or stealers, info stealers, are adapting the cryptocurrency credentials to their systems because most of the people recently, as you know, not recently maybe because the Bitcoin is very low currently, but when it was high, this cryptocurrency wallets were targeted a lot. But most of the this stealers adapted the if it stole the credentials for the cryptocurrency wallets. The malware, the Raccoon malware, then sends this data to command and control server operated by the cybercriminals who are responsible for the attack. The stolen information can then be used for a variety of malicious purposes, such as identity theft, financial fraud, and organized unauthorized access to the online accounts. Or sometimes there's the platforms as a service, just like the Stealer as a service, initial access as a service. So what they do in there, stealing information like this with Stealer as a service, and they sell your information as initial access to the hackers. Let's say I stole your information, your personal information, or your credentials from your PC, right? But I don't want to do the cyber attack because stealing is one crime and doing an attack is another crime. So let's say I stole your information, but I don't want to do this attack to your organization or your system or your PC. Maybe it is too difficult for me or it's too technical. What I want to do is I just want to sell this information as initial access. So there in the dark web, there are also platforms for initial accesses, and I just sell your information to the other hackers as initial access and gain uh, financial gain from this uh, selling your information. The other one is Blackguard, is a type of information stealing malware that is also designed to collect sensitive information from the infected Windows-based systems. So Blackguard is mostly developed for the Windows systems. It belongs to the family of stealer malware, which means it steals information such as username, passwords, browsing histories. Sometimes history is also very important from the infected computers. Typically, Blackguard spreads through phishing email, just like the others. As you know, phishing is the most used tactics by the threat actors to do something, sending the malware or stealing the information or compromise the system. So Blackguard is not different than other ones. Phishing is the most used tactics for the Blackguard as well. Uh, for this, they just tricking the users into downloading or executing malicious files. Once Blackguard is installed on a computer, it uses various techniques to evade the detection, including anti-analysis techniques and code obfuscation. So that's why this uh, stealers are advanced than the others. As you can see, this not just steal your information, but this stealers has advanced technology, complex technology in them, so they can bypass the anti-analysis techniques for antiviruses, and they also do the code obfuscation to not detect it by the antivirus systems or EDR systems. Uh, like the others, the Blackguard also collects the sensitive data from the infected device or the system and send it to the back to malicious actors behind the malware. The other one is Rodamant. HIS is a type of malware that belongs to the family of password stealers as well. It is designed to steal login credentials and other sensitive data from infected computers. Once the malware is installed on a victim's computer, it can monitor the user's activity and capture information such as like the other ones, usernames, passwords, credit card details, and Redmond HYS spreads through phishing emails, software downloads from the untrusted sources, or exploit kits that take advantages vulnerabilities in outdated softwares. We are going to talk about it, but as you can see, outdated softwares are the most critical vulnerabilities because most of the stealers use the outdated softwares to infect the PC or the system. The malware is equipped with the various stealth techniques to evade detection, including encryption and code obfuscation, just like the Blackguard. One other is Marsh Stealer, is also a type of malware that belongs to the family of Trojan stealers. This malware is designed to steal sensitive information from an infected computer. Marsh Stealer can capture sensitive information like browsing history, login credentials, stored credit card details, and just like the red line, cryptocurrency vault information, and the other sensitive information if there is any. Uh, it generally spreads through the phishing emails, just like the others, software downloads from untrusted sources, or through exploit kits that take advantage of software vulnerabilities. The malware is stealthy in the nature as it encrypts the communication. I'm sorry, it encrypts the communication within its command and control server and uses other obfuscation techniques to remain undetected. So this Mars has uh, created encrypted communication between the command and control center and the victim's device. So even this technique shows us how they develop the advanced malwares. Not just they're not just developing ordinary malwares. They put also a lot of features their malware so they cannot be detected or cannot be catched. The last one I want to mention is Luma stealer spreads through varied methods, including email attachments, software downloads, or software vulnerabilities. When it affects the device, it can collect a wide range of sensitive data, such as username, password, credit card details, and other personal information, just like other stealers. This stolen data is then sent to the attacker servers, where it can be used for fraudulent activities. So what we did as a Socrata research team, we analyzed the stealer record of 400 gigabytes, which was sampled from the 2 terabyte of data from the first week of March 2023 among the records of we collected from sources such as hacker forums, dark web, chat sites, groups, and channels. So we have 70 million stealer logs collected from the resources I just mentioned you, and we try to analyze them for you, and we published a report for that. At the end of the webinar, I would like to share with you the report. But what we learned from this report, that's what I want to share with you. So when analyzing the stealer records, we also found that threat actors created fake data to increase the number of records. After cleaning this simulated data with the prepared tool, we found that it is corresponded to 5-10% of data obtained. There is a 5% margin of error, as some of the statistics in this research may include this fake data. So let's take a closer look what we have learned from this analysis. So according to the data we analyzed, over 100,000 people from 200 different countries have been infected by stealer malware. And this figure, as you can see on the screen, based on the file shared by all stealer malware, while this data shows a proportional distribution according to the population structure of the countries, Brazil, Egypt, and India stand out among the top 10 countries infected with the stealer malware. The image on the screen shows the 10 countries where stealer are most common detected. So these 10 countries are Brazil, Egypt, India, Philippines, United States, Turkey, Algeria, Mexico, Indonesia, and France. So after the analysis, it was determined that the red line, we already mentioned about the red line, software is still a malware that continues to maintain its popularity and poses the highest threat and has the highest number of infected system. Redline stealer with 42% was the most common threat element among the stealers that captured the user's sensitive information. Meta stealer detected in 27% of the records was the other stealer that appeared in the rolls due to its high number. There's another one, still C, which started to be announced on underground forum site and the Telegram channels in January 2023. So it's relatively very new. Was another stealer detected in 14% of the records. After still C, Raccoon stealer was the most detected stealer with 10%. And as seen from this the number of detections of newly released stealers in our analysis is significantly important. And our stealer is another stealer software detected in 4% of the records. The research also examined the antivirus programs used on infected systems. As a result of examination of stealer logs, 49,404 antivirus software, including Microsoft Defender, they were detected on more than 100,000 infected systems. Number of antivirus information was not found on the systems in logs. Some systems, sorry. Some systems have more than one antiviruses, so you need to keep that in mind. But usage statistic for antivirus vendors other than Windows Defenders are Avast is 24.4%, McAfee 23.4%, Avira 3.8%, Kaspersky 2.8%, and Norton Antivirus is 3.2%. This statistics show us users prefer Avast and McAfee antivirus software the most, and Avast is the most preferred antivirus software with 24.4% of all systems having at least one antivirus installed, followed by the McAfee with 23.4%. Antivirus software such as Norton and Kaspersky were less preferred than others. However, any antivirus software's high or low popularity is not an accurate indicator of its quality or security. Unfortunately, the type of antivirus software or whether or not a stealer uses circumvention technique is not only way to infect the systems. Sometimes if the user disable antivirus software or if the malware is added to the malware antivirus's safe list or the whitelist to run, it is unlikely to be detected by the software, antivirus software. So we have to keep that in mind. Another valuable piece of information stolen from the stealer's password. When the data of this stealer is analyzed, it is seen that the most of the stolen passwords are pretty simple and easy to guess. Although the total number of passwords detected in the stealer log is 1,056,775, only 264,941 are unique passwords. We identified the 5 most frequently used passwords from the total number of passwords. When we look at this rate, it is seen that the rate of simple and commonly used passwords such as admin, which is one of the most used password, as you know, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is relatively high. These 2 passwords are always off the top of the list. Like when you take a look at the statistics from 2000, let's say 15, 2016, 2018, always at the top of the list, most commonly used passwords is admin and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all this cybersecurity awareness trainings, efforts, we have like information is everywhere. Everybody try to increase the cybersecurity awareness and do some of activities, but still in 2023, the most common used password is admin and 1236. So anyway, in the line with the data, we obtain the PayPal tool. The PayPal tool is one of the most popular password analysis application tool. That's what we use for this analysis. And based on the output of the analysis tool, it was observed that the most frequently used password length was 8 characters, while 28.45% of the total number of the password has the length between 1 and 6 characters. 71.55% compromise passwords longer than 8. So as you know, NIST cybersecurity framework advises the use password not less than 8 character. So based on our analysis, 71% of the compromised passwords are longer than 8, but it didn't help to protect the users. So some passwords are even 32 characters long and entirely complex based on our analysis. But once infected by the stealer, even password length and complexity do not help. This is very important. I want to repeat myself. Some of the passwords are even 32 characters. The compromise passwords I'm talking about. And they were entirely complex, like random, small capital letters, small letters, special characters. But once your computer is infected by the stealers, even password length and complexity is not going to help you. That's why we always keep saying use the two-factor authentication. Just strong password is by itself is not going to protect you. So in our research, files containing password registered to the URLs and domain addresses were also examined. Important information was obtained on the URLs and subdomains. A total of 152,000 URL addresses were identified, and it was seen that 82,000 of these addresses were unique. This statistic shows that the wide range of unique URLs in the password data obtained from the internet browsers, which are frequently targeted by the stealers. We already mentioned that since the browsers has direct connection with the internet, and there are lots of vulnerabilities in the browsers. Like I use Chrome, and I see every day there's an update, almost every day. So if I don't update it, of course, that update means there is a vulnerability and it was fixed. And if most of the people ignore the update, their browsers, because most of the time we open a lot of tabs and doing some stuff in there and avoiding the closing and restarting the browser with the updates. So that's why attackers most of the time use the browsers to infect the PCs or systems. The image on the screen shows the number of these critical subdomains. As you can see, when analyzing the stolen account information, the number of account information registered in the critical subdomains, such as VPN or OWA, OWA was relatively high. As a result of the analysis conducted for 13 different subdomains in total, 718 different access information were identified. These subdomains are frequently used for especially in corporate networks and are important for protecting sensitive data. However, the increased number of stolen account credentials shows that the company's security measures are inadequate. So this is another interesting statistic, I believe. Another critical issue in the data obtained from the analysis of stealer logs was the computers that store the credentials of personnel working in the essential organization. Aside from the attacks that primarily target the sensitive data of end users, the fact that an employee working at a company X can be targeted more easily with company their personal computer is revealed. In addition to the security products that the companies invest large amount of money, the security vulnerability caused by human factor has once again been revealed. As you know, we always say human factor is the weakest link in the security. So this statistics also show us this statement is true, as you can see, because companies invest too much, not too much, I cannot say too much, because getting an budget for security is not easy. It is really hard. Since I work as a CISO, I know that. So, but still, some of the companies like Fortune 500 companies, 500 companies, they invest in security a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it it depends on the one user's click on the malicious link. That's it. So that's why human factor is still very important. In particular, company email belong to 22 different companies in the Fortune 500 ranking were detected. As a result of our examination, it was determined that the company emails of the 8 companies in the Fortune 50, like Amazon, AT&T, Microsoft, General Motors, UPS, Archer Daniels Midland, Intel, and IBM were exposed in the Stealer logs. Considering their sectors, it reveals that the possibility that attackers can misuse employees' credentials in these companies. The disclosure of the personal emails of important organizations mean that the company's trade secrets and sensitive data can be targeted, especially for the technology giants. Protecting their intellectual property rights and ensuring the confidentiality of their trade secrets is great importance. Therefore, compromising their sensitive data can cause them to lose their competitive advantage and suffer significant damage. This is, I believe, no, not last one, but I have 2 more slides. So let's talk about a little bit the uh, most of the emails we find in Stealer logs are accounts used to log in the company's um, cloud-based services. Of course, most of the companies began to use cloud services, uh, and that's why the cloud services are being targeted by the threat actors mostly recently. So, in particularly, frequently found credentials for popular services such as Microsoft Office, Google, AppBox, ClickUp, Skype, ZotaBox, Slack, and WebEx indicate that the companies using these services, they should be more careful about the account security. So our deep analysis of the most popular corporate applications shows that the many important companies can be easily targeted with this corporate application information. And if any threat actors discover and use the login credentials of the cloud-based chat application, they can cause significant damage to organization. Within the data we analyze, we determine that the user credentials of corporate companies such as antivirus manufacturers and airline companies were exposed. Access using these credentials can damage the reputation of the companies and can cause several losses. Therefore, corporate companies and their employee must be careful and take additional measures to secure their credentials. We also provide as a superdark this service to our customers with its automated and manual analysis, identifying the compromised corporate credentials and helping to prevent incidents that can cause great damage. So, in a nutshell, uh, based on our analysis and report, um, the data obtained from the Stiller logs reveals that the risk of stolen corporate credentials is quite high. It cannot be ignored. So, especially with the widespread use of cloud-based services, companies need to increase their security measures. Therefore, corporate firms need to raise awareness about the security of their employees and take the necessary precautions. And at this point, you can ask, so what are the necessary precautions for the Steelers? So I try to list them a couple of them. You can add more to the list. One of them, of course, you need to use or install antivirus or anti-malware software. These tools are designed to identify and block known threats, including stealers. They should be updated regularly and to ensure they can detect and block the latest threats. The other thing is software updates. This is very critical and very important, especially for browsers. As I said, I use Chrome as a browser, and there's an update almost every day. Always keep your software, your third party or your operating system updated. That's very important, especially your operating system and web browsers. I want to underline this. Your operating system and web browsers are very critical. You shouldn't ignore any updates warning, any update alert. You need to update immediately. Software updates often include patches for security vulnerabilities that stealer maybe exploit your system or your computer. So please be careful with your operating systems and web browsers. Firewall, of course, use a firewall to monitor and control incoming and outgoing network traffic based predetermined security rules. This can help prevent unauthorized access to your network and sensitive data. We have to also develop a habits for secure browsing. Be cautious about the websites you visit and the links you click. Stealers are often distributed through phishing emails or compromised websites. Using two-factor authentication is extremely critical. For example, in our organization, we do not allow any account or software which do not support a two-factor authentication. So if any software or any account, if they don't support the two-factor authentication, please do not use it. Because in this digital age, all systems easily can be adapted to factor authentication. Google have Google Authenticator, Microsoft have Micro Authenticator for two-factor authentication. Those applications all free. They're working very well. So all accounts and softwares need to be adapted to two-factor authentication. So as a policy in our company, as I said, we do not allow use to end users to use any account or software which do not support two-factor authentication. As you know, two-factor authentication provides an additional layer of security. I'm not saying when you use the two-factor authentication, you are safe. No, I'm not saying that there are too many tactics to bypass the two-factor authentication, but still, you're just adding another layer of security when you log into your account. So even if a stealer obtains your password, it would still need to second factor, temporary codes or message to your phone or code generated by the Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. So this is going to make your account safer. Not 100% bulletproof, of course, but again, it's going to be safer. Data encryption is very important. Please encrypt sensitive data both at rest and in transit. If a stealer does manage to obtain your data, it will be one of the no use without the encryption key. Because as you know, encryption make the data not understandable. So even if the stealer steal your information while it's encrypted, they are not going to understand anything from that data because encryption is like when you hit the keyboard randomly on the let's say Google Docs or Word. So there are something meaningless, right, on your screen. So encryption is like that. Even if they stole your information, if your information is encrypted, they are not going to understand it or they're not going to use it. Education and training is also very important, as we already talked about. Human factor is the weakest link in the security. So users should be educated about the threats posed by the stealers, how they can be distributed, and how to recognize potential threats. Backup is very critical for stealers and the ransomware attacks. As you know, regular backup important for the defense your systems. In case of breach, it will be easier to restore your system. Risk assessment and security policies regularly. We need to conduct risk assessment, can help identify the potential vulnerabilities in our system or in our organization. Establishing and enforcing strong security policies can also help protect against threats. Using password management, also very important, because most of the time I also give the cybersecurity awareness training. At the training, we are telling the people, okay, use random passwords. Use at least 8 characters. Use different passwords for different accounts. Too many criteria, right, to make it safe. There's no way, there's no people on earth who can keep that much password in their mind. So you have to write them down to somewhere, but not on the piece of paper, of course. So that's why you need to use a password management tool. Using strong password, unique passwords for each account, and you need to change them regularly, like every 3 months, every 6 months. Please change your password and consider using the password manager to keep your password safe. For password managers, as you know, you just need to know master password, and the rest password manager is going to keep it for itself in the safe place. So zero trust security model is also very important. This approach assumes that any device or user, whether inside or outside the network, could be threat. Therefore, every request for access to resources is authenticated, authorized, and encrypted. If I give you an example for my organization, again, it doesn't matter their title, if security researcher or if head of the, let's say, marketing, or even the CEO, have no exception. We have zero trust security model in our organization. If a request, access request, or accessing somewhere requested, we have questions. Why that person need to access that data, what he or she is going to do with it, and if we have the enough security implementation for this access. The last one I can suggest is the using threat intelligence. Of course, the threat intelligence can be used effectively to prevent stealers by identifying potential threats and vulnerabilities and developing strategies to mitigate the uh, vulnerability. Because we are a cyber threat intelligence company and we monitor the dark web 24/7. If some data is leaked, or we always keep monitoring the advertisements or posts. If anything is posted about your organizations, we're gonna let you know immediately so you can take the precautions. So this was the end of my webinar. Thank you so much for joining me, but let me take the questions first if there's any. Andre, thank you for amazing. Could you link the recording of this event has been sent after webinar will end? Is it possible? Sure, Andre, it is possible. We have also established a community, a CTI community on the Discord channel. I would like to share the link for you if you'd like to join the community. We also share the news, also share the links for the recordings. If you join us in the Discord channel, we would be more than happy. Hi, Raul. It's a good question. Let me first, before people are leaving, let me share the links with you. First of all, let me share the report with you. The report, we analyze the stealer logs. Then I'll answer your questions because some people may need to leave early. I don't want to keep anybody in here. So, where are you? Oh, there it is. So the white paper is coming. You can take a look and analyze it and do your own research. Let me share the Discord channel with you. Paper is coming. Invite. The link. Okay, this is the link for our Discord channel. It's a CTI community J. We try to, it's in the beta version still. We didn't do the marketing yet. We didn't announce it officially. But we are first trying to understand if it is a good idea or not. So if you just join us in the Discord, we would be more than happy. So I also shared the report with you guys. So let me go with the Raw's question. What do you consider are the best ways to secure our browsers? As I told you, Raw, you need to update your browser regularly. Most of the time, threat actors, sorry, can affect your system because we do not update our browsers. To be honest, I open too many tabs in my browser. When there's an update, like there's a warning, you need to update your browser. I ignore it because I don't want to close all these tabs and open it again because I'm going to lose some information in there. That's what I believe. That's the time, that's an opportunity for threat actors. But to make it your browser safe, Unity, only thing you can do is update your browser. Of course, just updating your browser not enough. You have to use the antivirus or anti-malware or EDR systems in your computer. So if there's an attack, then they can detect it. What is the best way, Adam, to react when credentials, company, login, and passwords are posted on darknet market? We see that often, Adam. What we do is we immediately inform the company or the organization. This could be the employee of the company, like his or her computer is infected by the stellar malware, or sometimes it's the customer. Like some organizations have login panel for their company for customers, and we have a lot of information about the customers as well. We immediately inform the company, yeah, like this person's credentials are on the dark web for sale. So they contact that person, customer or employee, and the first thing they need to do is do the security check on their PC because that malware probably still is there. So they have to clean the compromised device. First thing they do. At the same time, while this computer is cleaned by the IT or the security department, this person has to change the password immediately. If that person, the infected person, let's call him infected person, using the passwords, same password for different accounts, that's terrible because the attacker is going to use the same password for all his or her accounts. So if that person, infected person, using the same password for all his or her accounts, she or he has to change it immediately, the password, but not from the infected computer. As I said, the first thing, the computer shouldn't be used. It needs to be cleaned by the security department or the IT department, which department you have it, or you have to clean it yourself if you're using for individual use. You shouldn't change your passwords from that computer. You have to use another device. You believe it is clean, but at the same time, you have to maybe format your PC, the infected PC, or you have to use antivirus program installing, but I don't suggest it. The best way is to format your computer, erase everything. Because after infection, even if you download the antivirus system, that software could be also infected. So my suggestion is delete everything from the infected computer. Could you send link the recorded meet after the webinar? Sure, Andre. I can send the link. I cannot send it from here since maybe our marketing department can send it. But if you can join us on Discord, I share the links over there and you can find over there. Let me see this answer live. Okay. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Raul. Richard, light colors of fonts and images make it difficult to read. Would it be possible share the slides? Thank you. Richard, that's a very good feedback. I'm sorry you couldn't read it. It was difficult to read. I'm so sorry. Next time I'll be much more careful and try to prepare more readable presentations. Sure. Again, I can share the presentations with you from the Discord channel if you like to join. If you don't want to, of course, I'll tell the marketing team to send the recording and the presentations to you. Okay, Andre, sorry I had misprinted on the last question link, as I see current webinar has recorded. Thank you, Andre. You are showing C2s as of those stealers, but just to understand if they are still as a service, shall the C2 be different on each campaign or not? Pablo, thank you so much for your questions. If they are, yes, C2 has to be not has to be different for each campaign. They can use the same C2 for different campaigns, but if you're asking from the security perspective, of course, it's better to use different CUs for different campaigns. You are right, if that was the question. From the security perspective, you're absolutely right. Is there any other question you want to ask? So again, I'm very appreciated as you come to join the webinar. Our exploration of the dark web and the alarming concept of Stealer as a service has been an eye-opening, I believe, I hope. It was unveiling the hidden dangers that lurk with the vast of expanse cyberspace. I believe the knowledge and the insights we have gained during this webinar are invaluable for you, I hope, equipping us with a deeper understanding of the threat we face in the digital landscape. I'd like to express my gratitude to each participant who has presence and engagement, have made this webinar a dynamic and interactive platform for learning and knowledge sharing. Your insightful questions and active participations and shared experiences have enriched our collective understanding of the topic. We would like to join, as I said, our community because we want to learn from you as well. As we conclude today's webinar, let us carry forward the lessons learned, the awareness gained, and the determination to protect ourselves, our organizations, and our communities from the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Remember that the knowledge is power, and together we can forge a safer and more secure digital future. Again, thank you so much. Have a safe and secure day.